Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chiefs Digest live Q&A with Matt Derrick. I am the guy from Chiefs Digest. Hooray, hooray! It is Q&A day, Luttrell. So thank you very much for helping us get off to the start there. I'm going to share a story just to tell you the kind of probably mood I'm in tonight and everything. And I've probably been a little chippy today, and particularly maybe on social media. Sometimes things just hit my little buttons and everything. But if you don't know, this is another thing to know about NFL training camps. They're fueled by interns. There are interns everywhere. There's coaching interns. There's athletic trainer interns. There's equipment manager interns. Probably player personnel interns too. I never really thought about that. There's interns in marketing, communications. I would imagine half the staff for training camp are interns. They're part-time employees, and some of them are seasonal. They have year-round interns. Some of them are just camp interns, but there's a lot of them. But one thing that I always tell the interns that I work with and talk to and everything is that I tell them, here's the goal of training camp. The job of training camp is to break you down and then build you back up. And then training camp breaks you down. And if there's time, build you back up again. And this is for everybody every year, not just interns, it's everybody. So I'm at the first, breaking down thing. So we're on day 2 of 6 days in a row, and I've officially broken. So yes, just that point in the training camp where you're like, you're already behind. You've got so many things going on, so many ideas running through your head, so many stories that are in place, so many things that are going on, and you're just trying to catch up. So if I seem in any way whatsoever convoluted tonight, distracted in any way, you're wondering just what's going on, I've been broken down by training camp already. We're going to get straight into it tonight. There's a bunch of questions. I appreciate everybody coming in. I know there's a lot of stuff going on tonight at 7 o'clock. So this is a busy time in Chiefs Kingdom, and coming off one of our best live streams last week, performance-wise. Can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you for watching, not just the live audience, but we get so many people who tune in afterwards on the recording. I can't tell you how much that means to me. It's obviously, this is taken off in a way that I never expected, and truly appreciate it. And everything on the YouTube channel and this live stream in particular is obviously a big part of everything that I've been doing the last few years. So it's so much fun, and I appreciate how much fun we all have together. So that's my little spiel for the evening, and let's get into it. Weston, first one up. What is the status of Esapole? Haven't heard much about him so far. Is he still in the running for right tackle with Moore and Benson? It is a good time to mention that, hey, there are times during training camp when things change, and then, there'll probably be a little bit of a tweaking of depth. There's always a little bit of tweaking of depth charts, even day to day. Things can change. Somebody has a good day, and next day, so they're getting a little bit more reps. Maybe somebody has a bad day. Next day, they're getting a few less reps. But normally, depth chart doesn't change a whole lot, day to day. There's moments. And, after the break, there's going to be a break on Sunday. They'll come back right before the preseason game for a couple of days. And there's sometimes a couple of tweaks, but the big moving day, if you will, where there's the most changes on the depth chart, is that first preseason game. After that game, you've now learned about some things about some people in their paths. You now have seen how they perform in a game situation. And it's after that you really see the first major movement of the depth charts and everything. So a lot can still change. And I just preface that by saying that, hey, this doesn't mean the race is over. What we've seen right now is exclusively Jalen Moore and Khalil Benson running with the ones at right tackle. And Khalil Benson's been getting the majority of the work. If you just go on the eyes would tell you that Khalil Benson is in first place, Jalen Moore's in second. And the eyes would also tell you that it's not really a race. The Esapole is kind of in third place. And then you even have like Ethan Driscoll and Chu Godric in the kind of the next group behind that. Doesn't mean things can't change, though. And right now it does look like there's a gap between Moore and Benson and then the Pole. I still think Pole is pretty much a lock to make this team. I think that the Chiefs will want at least 4 tackles on this team. So I think that they're pretty good shape to for those guys to all make it. But can he make a still a run at the starting spot? I mean, yeah, it's possible. Benson has been good, and Luttrell, you've got a question. Kind of, we'll just transition there to that one about the Benson hype and everything. Should there be hype on Benson? Um, we'll have a separate conversation on how did he slip through the draft process, but you know, he's a good player. There's no doubt. I mean, the Chiefs have found at least a precious metal of some sort in the draft, and then in the process, rather the post draft process. Either, hey, this guy might be a diamond, maybe he's gold, maybe he's pewter. I don't know. But he's something. I mean, he's obviously a good player. Is he going to start in week 1? No. I mean, we don't know for that for sure yet. I mean, clearly the coaching staff sees something that they like, but you got to go. We're in the pads now. I think he's had some good moments and some rookie moments so far. Jalen Moore's a known quantity. So if the Chiefs really like Benson, which all indications are that they do, then it's, hey, play him an extended period of time and see what he's got. I mean, Andy Reid is not normally one to have a stalking horse. So I still don't think this is a situation where the Chiefs are going with Benson to encourage Pole and Jalen Moore to up their game. But the way that the Chiefs are thinking this, and Khalil Benson's been a right tackle, but I mean, that's what he's been. So there's no really thought process about moving him to the left side, which does fit with the Chiefs as far as Pole and Moore being on the second team. They have been able to switch back and forth between left and right and do their thing there. But I mean, right now it looks like it's going to be one of those two, either Jalen Moore or Khalil Benson. I mean, I maybe Mesa will get back into this. Can't rule it out, but right now it's going to be one of those two guys. How did Khalil Benson slip through the draft process, Lestral? I wish I knew. I've been asking people, and we get different. I mean, Chris Jones said he thought it was the injury. I don't know what injury he's referring to. I mean, he was injured a few years ago, but I'm not aware of any postseason injury that he had, anything that affected him during the draft process. I mean, it's just like he was consistently all along considered a post-draft prospect and a free agent prospect. The fact that nobody signed him based on the body of work, I mean, the guy was a right tackle for the national champions, and he held his own against Reuben Bain on the national championship game. I mean, I don't understand it. And I mean, once again, sometimes things will come out and be like, hey, this guy was a terrible interview. And Dane Brugler does the best scouting in the book. And, his book, The Beast, is the Bible for the draft scouts every year. And, and he said, hey, probably, even though he's got great tackle size, that maybe his athleticism is more suited to guard and that he had a little bit of sloppy technique. Well, that doesn't bother the Chiefs. I mean, they always feel like they can improve technique. And maybe that they have, and maybe he did. I don't know what Khalil Benson did between the national championship game and rookie mini camp. Maybe he went out and got coaching and rebuilt himself as a player. I don't know. Maybe he's not the same guy that he was in college. It's a mystery, and I mean, I hope to tell the story one day because I think it's a great story. I mean, if this guy goes from national championship team to undrafted, unsigned, rookie tryout in Kansas City, and then starting in week 1, I mean, that's better than Rudy. So, I mean, that's what it is. Luttrell wants to start the Peter Wood hype. How about it? Well, if you haven't seen the tape, and the tape is out there, and I'll tell you what, we're going to try it here. I have not tested this, so I apologize if it does not work. Tried this once before, and it didn't work great. It was really kind of stuttering. And I am going to have to play it without the audio because there was a lot of chit chat. Some people may want out there, some people may not. So I'm going to try and pull up today's practice video if I can, and give you a chance to look through a little bit of today's work. And let's see, I think this is it. Let's see here. Yep, that's it. So let's see if it will pop up here. And we'll get into it. But hey, no, the Peter Wood hype, it's real. So there's it's legit. I mean, I'm definitely there. It is absolutely legit. It says my having trouble with my video. We'll try it again. But yeah, I mean, Peter Woods is good. I mean, even players are saying that he's good. Not even just at the podium, just talking and about it and everything. I mean, this has been the guy, and the word around the league is going around too. That the Chiefs are excited about this guy. So Eric with the super chat. Thank you very much, Eric. Predict the top 4 Chiefs players for the next 5 years. Maybe a good segue there as well, because I mean, I know it's only 2 padded practices in, but geez, I'm gonna have to put Peter Woods on that list. I mean, Peter Woods, I'm not I don't want to get the hype started too early here, but this dude looks for real. And he looked for real in college. I mean, let's face it, let's go back to a year ago. I mean, there were people who thought that this was the top guy in the NFL draft a year ago. And then, the Clemson season fell apart. His season kind of went south. This looks more like the dude that was, at Clemson a year ago than the guy who played in 2025. And Clemson obviously had a rough season. They had to use, Peter Woods in a lot of ways that he was not best suited to. So, I mean, there's a lot to explain there. If this truly is the dude that everybody seemed to think he was a year ago, this is going to be an incredible pick for the Chiefs. It's just obviously he's got to keep with it and everything, but this is the guy that you could see replacing Chris Jones. I mean, absolutely. He's showing that much, and he's impressing people that much. So I think you'd have to put him on the list. Patrick Mahomes not going anywhere, so I know he'll be 36 in 5 years, but I'm okay with that. That he's still going to be there in 5 years. Honestly, I mean, I'm trying to. Let me look up how old's Creed going to be? Creed's still relatively young. I don't think Creed's going anywhere in the next 5 years. I mean, now he'll be on the 3rd contract by then, and I would imagine the Chiefs are probably going to keep him because they like to keep their own guys, especially their guys that might be great. So, you could certainly see Creed Humphrey staying healthy. Centers, it's a hard life for centers out there, but he might be building a resume of sorts that might get him some post-career honors. And if that's the case, then the Chiefs aren't going to let him go anywhere. So I would probably say, hey, Creed Humphrey is still going to be one of the Chiefs' 3 best players. And maybe this is a good way to think about it. Predict the 4 Chiefs' best players. Maybe who are going to be players that I think are going to be among the NFL top 100 in 5 years. I think those 3 guys will be for sure. 4th, I mean, Eric, you have to give the reasonable possibility that somebody who's not on this team yet, that they're going to draft somebody that's going to be, one of those guys. My gut would say that if we're just going to stick with the players who are on this team and the 4 players in the next 5 years who are going to be their top players, Josh Simmons is going to be the other one. I mean, the Chiefs truly believe that this guy is an elite, decade-long, tackle in this league. I mean, and once again, I mean, this is a position that you don't let hit free agency. So there are players, at certain spots that they might get traded. Receiver is one of those positions. Teams sign their high-end, their talent, their high-end free agents at certain positions, edge rusher, receiver. It doesn't mean they don't get traded away. The left tackles, I mean, teams hold on to if they get a legit number 1 elite left tackle, they hold on to them forever. So yeah, I think Josh Simmons is that good. So I think those would be my 4. Lock them in. Not sure there's anybody else that's on the team right now that would really surprise me, but those 4 for sure: Mahomes, Woods, Humphrey, Simmons. I think that's 4 good ones right there to build your team around. And like I said, I mean, there's a reasonable chance that one of those top 4 is a guy you haven't drafted yet. So got to draft well. Scott, thank you for the jewels. Unc alert. I think I know what that's a reference to. We've had some Unk sightings this week in St. Joe. And then Scott, thank you for the super chat also. Which defensive rookie has the better season between Woods, Delane, and R. Mason Thomas? Really tricky question, Scott, because I think they're obviously going to be used in a lot of different ways. Um, Woods is going to be a defensive tackle. So, hey, that can be hard to put up numbers. He's going to be sharing that spot with Chris Jones. So even as good as he is, I mean, there's a chance that, is Woods going to end up like 50% of the snaps? I mean, I could see Chris Jones, ending up where he kind of is at 70% of the snaps at his age. Woods playing more than just 30% of Chris's leftover snaps, because there's times that there's going to be those two guys on the field. Chris is going to kick out to edge rusher. Honestly, that might be more than just on third downs, especially with some of the injury problems the Chiefs right now have at edge and some of their depth issues. So I could see that. I do think that the injury to Ashton Gelati could affect things, but I still feel like R. Mason Thomas is going to be a strong rotational piece. But the one weak part of his game so far, this early in his career, and he kind of subtly admitted it the other day. I mean, he talked about the fact that he needs to get stronger. He's got to build up his run defense. I mean, if you're going to be an edge on all three downs, you got to be able to set the edge in the run game too. And that's the one area, because he's obviously a little bit undersized. He's going to need to put on a little bit more muscle to be able to set the edge on and the run situations. And that's right now, even though he and Felix are similar body types, I would bet that Felix Anudike Uzama is weighing more than R. Mason Thomas does. So that's why we're seeing more FAU in run situations, more of R. Mason Thomas in passing situations. And I think R. Mason Thomas and may end up just being one of their primary, third down specialists in there too. Haven't seen a ton of that, surprisingly. There's been some different looks that we've seen, but I've really been anticipating at some point we're going to see a lot of Chris Jones and R. Mason Thomas on the outside, Peter Woods and like George Karlaftis on the inside. Maybe that's a season thing. Maybe they're just kind of hiding that for right now, but I could see that being a really, really strong look. I mean, R. Mason Thomas could absolutely back himself into some numbers and may end up looking good. I mean, if he ends up with like 8 sacks, wouldn't stun me. I mean, he might have 2 sacks, for crying out loud. You never know. The one thing that worries me about Delane to this point is obviously that he's still got the yellow non-contact jersey on. I don't think that's a big hindrance. I think he's still going to be starting in week 1. The quicker he gets onto the field at full speed, the better you feel about that. And that's the only thing that would worry me, is just, even though the Chiefs are trying to get him as much as you say the mental reps as they can. I mean, they've had him in defensive huddles on the field. They've had 12-man huddles on the field with the ones, and then he comes off the field. He's in the huddle, so he hears the play and everything, and gets the instructions from Nick Bolton, and everybody's talking about, hey, whatever, he answers the questions or whatever needs to happen. He's getting that information right now in the field and the pre-snaps, and then he's going off the field afterwards. It's an interesting way to go about it. I've never really seen it before that I can remember. But again, it's how, is that going to hold him back early in the season? It could very well. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, we've seen corners struggle when, especially new team, rookie, new system, whatever it may be, struggle early in the season in a situation like this where they didn't get a lot of reps during training camp. Chiefs are trying to get Delane as many reps as they can without putting him in danger and re-injuring that shoulder. So you're hoping, if you're a Chiefs fan, that he gets healthy and is clear to go here as soon as possible. I mean, I think Peter Woods is going to be having a really impressive season. I think he's going to play a lot more than Woods, or excuse me, he's going to play more than Thomas will. Delane will play the most, but I think he's got the biggest uphill challenge. I think Peter Woods, I mean, once again, it's the hype. The hype train's left the building. I mean, hype train is 88 miles per hour right now and getting ready to, take Doc Brown and Marty back to the future. Peter Woods, I would expect, is going to be a candidate for Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's going to get the hype. He's going to get the steam. If he starts putting up numbers, he gets 8 to 10 sacks, something crazy like that, he's going to be in that conversation. I mean, that's a lot for a rookie interior pass rusher. But this guy is going to be, he's special, man. It's crazy. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, you guys. John, seems like R. Mason has been a little quiet since the pads have come on. What have you seen? Here's the thing for R. Mason. I don't know that he's really been that quiet. I think it's just been more that P. Woods has sucked up all the oxygen since the pads came on. I think he's been solid. Again, you see him flash, you see the speed, but again, what's the deal? I mean, he's not an every down player, and when Gelati went down, he's gotten more reps with the first team, but more often than not, Felix is the first guy out there. And again, whereas Gelati would be a full-time player, it's taken both those guys to kind of replace him because Mason Thomas is the better pass rusher. Felix, I think they have more confidence in as the early down and the run defender on the edge. So that would play into Felix's versatility and at least his experience is going to play into his favor. And because of the injuries and losing Ethan Downs too. I mean, after that, they've got some depth questions to answer, and nobody after that has really kind of flashed to this point. So that's going to be something for them to kind of try and figure out here over the weeks and days. And so, and Nikki, thank you for reminding everyone, hit the like button. I mean, even if you don't like it, please, just give some pity to me and hit the like button. Kidding mostly, but also don't forget to hit the bell. So make sure you get the notifications, follow. So you get that. If you are on Twitter and aren't already following me on Twitter, you should probably go ahead and do that. If you're the person watching on Facebook, hopefully you already are following us on Facebook. But once again, like, comment, help other people find the show. I appreciate it. John, sorry, Matt, tried to be the first one onto the field. Did you do better than me today? I wasn't the first. So I wish if I had been just a few minutes earlier. I mean, if I was about 3 minutes away from it being in pretty good shape. Because there weren't very many players on the field. I'm trying to remember. L'Jarius Sneed was the first player on the field today, so I believe. So another name to the mix to add. I think L'Jarius had a half win. I think he shared a victory a few days ago. Once again, the really disappointing thing is that Jesse Newell from The Athletic has decided apparently it's his gig to show up early and everything. So he's been beating me. That's my bigger concern right now. I need to put Jesse in his place a little bit. I mean, that's a problem. Let's face it. I mean, this is kind of like I feel like all of a sudden here's this. I mean, he's not a rookie, but I feel like I got Peter Woods coming up and trying to nip on me and everything. So I need to teach some people who are in charge. So I need to recharge the batteries. Need to finish this 6-day stretch strong, then come back after the break and just dominate the rest of the camp is my plan. But it's a free for all because it's pretty much like Zelmar Vetter, undrafted rookie, is putting in some really good time out there, getting out there first in the field. I mean, he's the leader amongst the players, but Jesse is proven to be tougher competition than I expected. So I've got some work to do. Only X Knives Caldwell. What's the info on that guy? Also, R. Mason will now be named Area 51 or for short UFO. I like that. I mean, that's a pretty good one. He's going to need a nickname at some point. I still don't know. I know he's told us that he goes by R. Mason, but do I call him R. Mason? I mean, a nickname would help, but again. UFO's not a bad one. I got wearing 51. That's not a bad idea. So Jeff Caldwell story. I mean, he's a project, and that's been clear from the beginning of rookie mini camp. A lot of athleticism, great size, very unpolished as a receiver. Not necessarily. I don't want to make the comparison to Justin Ross because then it's going to be same path. I mean, definitely different paths. I mean, he's not had the injury history that Ross has had and some of those issues. But hey, as a polished football player, he's got some work to do. I mean, he just needs to be a more established route runner. More consistent with catching, and I feel like he's still relatively new to the position and still young. So there's obviously growth there. I mean, there's athleticism. So if you can find a way that if you're the Chiefs to carve that out and turn it into something, do it. It's just that he's got a little ways to go. He's been mostly third team, and he's had some moments, but I mean, I would say, for Caldwell, practice squad is the great expectation. I can't imagine, and no knock against him, I can't imagine anybody claiming him off waivers and putting them on their 53 to start the season because he's not ready. There's a reason why he went undrafted. Give him a year on the practice squad, and then next year, let's see what happens. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, guys take that path, and some guys take the jump, and they become a good player for you. Some guys just never clicks. We'll see. But hey, the athleticism is great, but just don't put a lot of stock in this year, and you won't be disappointed. So, like I said, the year of seasoning on the practice squad would be great for him. Dog Petter with the super chat. Thank you very much, friend. Jalen Moore for Dawson Knox. What you think? I wouldn't do it. I mean, I'll be honest. I think you had a trade last week that just about got me. I think I pulled the trigger on that one. Nope. For a couple of reasons. One, I mean, you don't want to get rid of your tackle depth. I mean, I like Esapole. I mean, but then if you were to trade Jalen Moore, you're one injury away from having serious questions about your depth at left tackle. Then you're talking about definitely Ethan Driscoll and Shu Godric being in the conversation. I actually wouldn't have concerns about that. I like both those guys, but it's a drop off in experience. I mean, both those guys are really totally, truly unproven at this point. So you would be losing a lot in depth, and let's face it, you have needed that tackle depth the last few years. I mean, that's one position where I would not be giving away depth. So there's that. And two, I mean, I don't like the position coming in at this point in the season and making a difference. I just don't think that I think it's too tough for players to come into an Andy Reid offense and play in that spot, receiver, and coming in and making any pass catcher, tight end, receiver, any of those positions. I just don't think you can come in and make a meaningful difference. It's too much to pick up in 1 year, and when you're talking about a couple of weeks, doesn't work. So I think you'd be giving away top end tackle depth for honestly a guy who, if he came in, is probably not going to be any better than your fifth receiver as far as getting on the field. He'd be great for depth. So, hey, if you have a moment right now, I can get it. You don't have Rashee Rice out there, Worthy, Cyrus Allen, and all of a sudden you're feeling better because it's Dawson Knox and Nico Remigio and Tyquan Thornton on the field. Jalen Royals, those four guys, Dawson Knox is one of them. You're thinking, okay, hey, it's a little bit better as far as option. And and Knox in particular, I mean, I get it too. I mean, you're talking about the tight end depth and everything there. Again, I like the idea of some tight end depth, but I just don't think you come into this Andy Reid offense and pick it up. I don't think that he comes in, and I should have been bringing Travis into this equation too, and factoring in where Noah Gray fits and all these things. So we'll chalk that up to camp brain on that one. I mean, I would love if you had made this trade. Well, I still would have some concerns about Jalen Moore, but if you had brought in Dawson Knox in March, April, I'd feel a whole lot better about it than bringing in and trying to shoehorn him in August, because the evidence thus far to this point has been that these moves, preseason and beyond, do not work. Once you get this far into the process, bringing somebody into an Andy Reid offense does not work. And we've seen some elite guys try and do it. I mean, really good players. Just don't think it's would be a good fit, and I think you'd be giving away a lot of your tackle. But if it was a less of a cost, Jay, dog, we might be able to talk. I wouldn't give up a tackle though. Probably wouldn't give up. If we're talking about O-line depth, I also wouldn't give up Hunter Norzad. So, but your mileage may vary. And there's the question right there from John leading into it. How's the tight end room looking since OTAs? Better or worse? I think it has looked better. And I'm going to give the quarterback play a little bit of the credit there too, because I think that all the tight ends, and Travis wasn't around for most of OTAs. So when you got into team periods, most of the tight ends were working obviously with Justin Fields and Garrett Nussmeier. Both those guys have been better. Now you're to the part where Travis is getting all the work with the ones. You're filtering in Noah Gray and Jared Wiley. So the Jake Breeningstools and the Mason Plines and the Trey Watsons of the world are still working with Fields and Nussmeier, but those two quarterbacks have been better. So I think that the tight ends have looked better. They've all had moments, but again, it's just a little bit like OTAs. I will see Trey Watson have a really solid route, really great catch. Then I will see Trey Watson do what he did today, get open and have nobody within 5 yards of him probably, and drop a pass in the breadbasket. Jake Brittingstall's had some really nice plays. I mean, if he can stack those and start doing them every single day, you'd feel a whole lot better. Right now, I mean, I would say the room's shaken out to be Travis, Noah, Jared Wiley, Brittingstall, probably the guy on the cusp. I mean, maybe he's the fourth tight end, maybe he ends up on the practice squad, or you try and sneak him back onto the practice squad. That's kind of where it is. But like I said, I think the play has been better, but it's still not good enough to feel comfortable where you're like, okay, if something happens to Travis, what's the tight end position giving you? And I get that's why Dog wants to bring in Dawson Knox. It's scary, and like I said, I think the die is cast. It's a little bit like running back last year. You are where you are at that position. I don't think there's anything salvaging it this year. You kind of have to get through with the tight end room that you have. And you got to start looking at the future without Travis Kelce seriously hard. Because, I mean, I don't know that you're going to have Travis Kelce after this season. So you better solve the tight end position. I'm the Brown. Super chat. Thank you very much. Moving to the top of the line. And I know we had a lot of questions before 7 o'clock, so I'm already behind. Too many NFL analysts said KC needed to draft a right tackle. I mean, remember, that was total bluff. I mean, that was Brett Veach basically admitting that, hey, he was fine letting people think that he was going to take a right tackle. They weren't going to. And to your point, I mean, I don't know necessarily, because I feel like if the Chiefs knew what Khalil Benson was, they wouldn't have risked him being a tryout player. They would have signed him to a free agent deal off the get-go, or they would have taken him in the 7th round. I mean, they would have done something to make sure that they got this guy. But hey, I mean, it's a solid point. I mean, and this is the thing. I mean, if the Chiefs didn't end up with Khalil Benson, they'd have Jalen Moore at right tackle and be perfectly fine. And if Khalil Benson does win that job and he's good enough to play that spot, I mean, here's the thing. Jalen Moore is kind of an ideal backup swing tackle because he's good. He's played that position. I mean, he's done it before. He's done it consistently. I get that long-term, there's going to be some Chiefs fans that say they would like an upgrade, but for your third swing tackle, I mean, Jalen Moore's kind of ideal. I know you'd rather be playing him a little bit less money, but then again, also, if you've got 2 starting tackles on rookie free agent deals, you can justify overpaying a third swing tackle to just give you that depth. So I don't have any problems with it. I mean, the way that this is shaken out, I don't think that there's anything that, I mean, honestly, if you didn't have Jalen Moore, I think you'd be really concerned about your depth there. Jalen Moore's great, in the fact that he's a veteran that doesn't have a huge ego. I mean, if he's coming off the bench, he's going to be okay with that. He's not going to throw a fit. He's not going to cry. He's going to come in and do his job. And if he walks in one day and somebody's not there and he has to play, he's going to step in. And when that happened, he did it really, really well. So, yeah, I mean, hey, it was a great bluff by Brett Veach to get people to believe he was taking a right tackle. I never fell for the banana in the tailpipe, though, and I'm always going to be proud about that because, as you may remember, I did say that I was going to literally eat my hat if the Chiefs drafted a right tackle early in the draft. So, nailed it. John, what's happening with Jordan Hicks, Jaden Hicks? Will Chiefs have a position, as Connor seems to be around the ball a whole lot more than him? I mean, Jaden Hicks is kind of where he's been the last few years. It's Chamari Connor's right now that your strong safety. Alohi Gilman's your free safety. Chamari Connor is your nickel slot, and Jaden Hicks is the next guy up, and can honestly fill any of those roles. I mean, he's versatile enough that he can, go back and forth between free and strong safety. They can play him in the box. I honestly think you'll see him not consistently, but there are going to be times that the Chiefs are probably, when they're in sub package, And maybe even in some situations where they would have Leo on the field in the past, that maybe it's a safety like Jaden Hicks who comes in and plays in the box, somebody who can maybe pick up a tight end or a running back out of the backfield, but play a little bit more physical. They're going to have some decisions there to make in that spot, and Hicks and Bossa are, kind of a little bit, and I mean, Xavier Wampa kind of plays into that kind of discussion too, of guys that are versatile. One of my darlings of OTAs and mini camp in the off season was Cam Arnold. I still like Cam Arnold. I mean, he's also kind of one of those tweener guys who, former safety turned linebacker, maybe not big enough to be a linebacker, but too big to be a safety. I think he's got some good skills. I'd like to see him stick on this team, even if it's the practice squad. But you got a lot of guys like that, and yeah, I mean, Hicks. I love the way he plays. I mean, I see a guy that I really like, and I don't see as many flaws as Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo do. I mean, I'm going to trust their eyes more than mine. They see some things that they still don't like, and and maybe there's things that we don't see on game day. Maybe there's things in practice. Maybe there's things in prep. Maybe there's reads that we just don't see, but I like Jaden Hicks. I've always liked him better than the Chiefs coaches have, and he's kind of in the same spot. Like I said, I mean, he's going to be that guy off the bench that at least they feel like that they can plug into any position and be pretty versatile, but not really in line for a starting spot at this point. Luttrell, is Khalil Benson a better pass rusher or run blocker? I mean, I would say on my sites and what I've seen, I would probably say a better run blocker at this point. Like anybody, he's got some improvement. And again, that even goes back a little bit to that review that I was sharing from Dane Brugler about, hey, he needs to improve his technique. I mean, that's a big thing in the pass game. I mean, that's got to be clean. So yeah, I would say he's a better run blocker at this point. This should be a really good run blocking offensive line. I mean, they're creating some holes. And I mean, granted, once again, it's not game speed. This is the scrimmage. But, once again, you go back and you look at this offensive line last year, look at some of the holes that they created, and I'm now seeing the speed, the agility, the bounce, the reads, the vision, the patience of a Kenneth Walker. And honestly, I mean, and I don't mean this as a knock against Pacheco and Hunt. I mean, I still think that, Pacheco's decline was the surgeries and the injuries. I think Hunt's decline obviously was just the age and the mileage. The Chiefs might have 4 running backs on this year's team, that at least 3, but they might have 5 or 6 running backs on this squad right now that I would probably trust more than Pacheco and Hunt last year. Jaden Hunt does not look bad. I mean, I like EJ Smith too. I mean, he's kind of the back end of the depth chart right now. But in Walker, the Chiefs have Brashard Smith, and I see John's note there, so I'll go ahead and kind of bring that into it too. Don't worry, I'll come back. But Brashard Smith is basically right now the number 2 on the depth chart. Imari DiMercado is 3rd, but he gets more touches than Brashard consistently. So it's kind of Brashard's at this point, not that he hasn't earned it, but it's more of feels like more of a seniority thing at that point, even though he's a year 2 guy, but he's the only guy in that room that's been here for more than a year. So the Chiefs, hey, once again, they like the fact that all these guys that they can get into space and that they can use them and have roles for them. But they like Imari DiMercado. They love Emmett Johnson. I mean, those 4 guys right now I think are better than any running back the Chiefs had on the squad last year. And you put those guys behind this offensive line, run game's going to be better. So that should be, I think, pretty exciting if you're a Chiefs fan. Okay. I know, John, you have a million questions. I will have to stop getting to the questions here in a little bit, John. So don't take it personally. A few days in pads. Anything stood out from the linebacker core? I will go with the typo. Kind of amused me there. Sorry, man. I mean, I think it is what we expected. Cooper McDonald was mostly in that Leo role. Occasionally, you see Jack Cochran. Again, Chiefs are going with a lot of sub packages, and in those sub packages, you see some interesting looks where It's going to be a safety in the box, a lot of dime packages where there's going to be some forced safety looks, and you get those guys. So I mean, the top two spots, no surprise. I mean, you got what you have in Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil. That Leo spot's probably going to be mostly filled by Cooper McDonald. He and Jack Cochran, a little bit of competition there, so it could still go either way. But I would give the edge to McDonald. Um, they've got some questions. Boss is going to make this team. They're going to use. I think they're going to try find some different ways to get him on the field. And again, he's going to factor in, I think, a little bit into that Leo role, at least in that base 4-3 look of some things that they can try and do. Probably just depend on the matchups from week to week on some of these guys, whether you're going to see a Cooper more, a Jack Cochran more, a Jeff Bossa more. You're going to see more dime packages. They'll mix it up a little bit, but not, like I said, I don't think there's really been anything surprising from the linebacker group. It's kind of been exactly what we thought. So Rodney, glad you enjoyed the O-line D-line clip. But like I said, I got another one of those from today that I will have up on the YouTube channel. I will give it another try here real quick too, and see if we can't get it on here, and you can at least watch it while we're discussing things. I think I have it on the wrong format though for YouTube, unfortunately. So I'm just getting to the point where you were debating about whether or not I was going to be here on time. You know that. Chris, will it be week 2 or week 3 when Jake Briningschool still becomes tight end 1 for KC? Well, if that happens, I think that there have been a few injuries, Chris. I still like Briningstool. I mean, there's a lot to like there. He's got great size. Probably was going to need to earn some more opportunities, but again, I mean, the Chiefs seem like right now they're really comfortable with their rotation. Of Travis 1, Noah Gray 2. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be enough work there for Briningstool to be able to show what he can do to move up my bunch of the depth chart. That's why I joke that if he's going to be tight end 1, it's going to take an injury, Chris. But I still like him. I mean, I think he's in that fight for the and right now I would say it would probably be him as the 4th spot. I like Mason Pline. I think he needs a little more polish. So if you get him on the practice squad, that would be great. And Trey Watson. I mean, again, there's a lot to like there, just not enough consistency. So. Everyone, I'm at $1 million. You're right. If I won $1 million from a $10 scratch off, I probably would not be here tonight, Am to Brown. So at least I appreciate that you know me that well. I'm trying to be prepared, Nikki. Hopefully I haven't been too bad, even though I opened up by telling you I was not going to be my best this week because training camp has broken me. John, do you mean... Hey, I don't actually play the lottery very much, but hey, if I ever get a wild hair, it could happen. Mr. Larry Johnson, make me think about Chiefs Legends Day because we had Dwayne Bowe. And if you haven't seen Dwayne Bowe, go to my Twitter account and check out the Dwayne Bowe picture because Dwayne Bowe's outfit today was priceless. I mean, only Dwayne Bowe could pull that off. I mean, like I joked. I mean, it's like he looks like he's invented his own new form of karate and was going to teach Travis Kelce it. Those pants were something else. It's still early in the process, but during training camp, preseason, can we confidently say Khalil Benson is your guy? I'm pretty sure that I think there'll be a decision made probably before the second preseason game. I mean, it's entirely possible that it could go into the second preseason game, depending on how the first one plays out. I mean, if Benson gets a few drives, plays lights out, it may just be over. And the Chiefs may be saying, yeah, we're comfortable with this guy. I think they're probably going to want a couple of performances. I think they're going to want him to back it up a little bit. So I think he probably needs to have 2 games, and he looks pretty good for it to be over. And it could be over before that. I mean, and that could go either way. I mean, it could be that Chiefs are like, well, you know what? We do like the upside, but he's got some work to do. So Jalen's the guy. I haven't. And here's the thing: I can't say that I've necessarily seen a huge separation between the two of them yet. I don't think it's been just obvious. I mean, right now the players are and the coaches are all saying the right things as far as where he's at, and nobody's saying, "Hey, he's a rookie, he's overwhelmed," or "Hey, he's a rookie, you don't want to put too much on him." I mean, they're putting a lot on him, and he seems to be handling it. So I I would right now say I think it's gonna be Khalil Benson, and I'm in that 60 to 65% range. The longer we go where he is getting the majority of the reps, I'm gonna believe it's gonna be him. And maybe we will know. I mean, after the first preseason game, if we're seeing those practices in that week after the first preseason game, we're seeing that it's Benson's and number one, and Jalen Moore's not rotating in with him anymore. Job he's wanted. I mean, it'll be over at that point. So I do think it'll be around that time. It'll be either the first preseason game or the second preseason game. I think the second preseason game is, I think, the latest it could go. I think the earliest would be the first game. So really in that week, I think, is where you're talking about determining your winner. I saw Nick's name mentioned there, and there for a moment I thought Nick was making comments in here. It wouldn't be unheard of. He's done it before. Um, Alex, haven't heard much about the rookie running back. And a little bit of that again is too, just because the Chiefs have been making Emmett Johnson kind of earn his way, and it's a loaded running back room. So Kenneth Walker's getting the bulk of the work. Like I said, I mean, Rashard Smith is second in the depth chart. He just doesn't get as many touches as the other guys do. Amari DiMercato then gets his work in. Then you've got Emmett Johnson consistently, then Jaden Ott and EJ Smith. So I mean, that's been pretty consistent rotation. Hasn't changed a lot. I will be interested to see where Brashard kind of fits in, because I think that, I mean, at least if there's a 3 running back rotation of Walker, DeMercado, and Johnson, and Brashard's kind of the gadget guy or somebody who you can just put in a lot of different places. I mean, we haven't seen, what the Chiefs kind of alluded to a little bit at the end of last year, which was maybe he's better suited as a wide receiver. We're not seeing that. I mean, we've been seeing him as a full-time running back. Doesn't mean that they don't split him out more, but and again, I think he's looked pretty comfortable. Again, the only thing he doesn't look really comfortable doing is running straight between the tackles up the middle. He is still he doesn't have Walker's patience. But again, if he could just develop a little bit of patience with hitting that hole, or you find ways to get the ball to him in space, I mean, Brashard Smith is a mismatch. He hasn't been leaned on as much this camp as I felt like the Chiefs tried to feed him last year. And if you remember, I mean, that was the Chiefs were definitely selling the Brashard Smith Kool-Aid last year, and I was on it. I mean, I liked what I saw. It's just that he just couldn't seem like he could develop the consistency in games to keep anything going. And I mean, obviously the Chiefs just struggled with that in the run game period across the board. So I think he got kind of caught up in the wash on all of that. So, but Emmett Johnson, when he's gotten his opportunities, he's looked good. It's just a really stacked running back room right now that this team feels pretty good about, especially compared to last year. Red Hood Chief, how has FAU looked coming off injury? Heard his get off is better and showing at least a little something this year. I do think that Felix has looked better this year than he has in the past. I mean, he does look like there's some improvement. And you know me, I mean, I'm always, when guys have missed an entire season, I'm pretty bearish on them coming back, as far as, hey, needing some time to get back up to full strength. The difference here is that FAU is not coming back from a knee injury. He's not coming back from a torn ACL. He's coming back from a hamstring, which, don't get me wrong, was a nasty hamstring injury. But that's an easier, and easy being relative, but it's a more successful comeback than knee injuries. I mean, if you've got guys coming back from just a really, really bad hamstring, torn hamstring, that's an injury that you can come back from and play closer to 100% your first year back than with a knee. Mahomes, let's face it, and this I don't think has been talked about enough, because there's going to be some folks who are talking about Mahomes even with the knee injury. And it's like, how is he able to come back this quickly? Well, remember, he had two great trainers in Bobby Stroop and Julie Freimeyer who were at his disposal basically 24/7 since he tore that ACL. Most guys coming back from an ACL, they've got the team trainer, what, 3, maybe 4 or 5. I mean, maybe you've got appointments during the week. You come in and your trainer's also working with other people. You may be coming in and, hey, there might be 4 guys coming back from ACLs and you're all working together with the trainer. You don't have Julie and Bobby at your beck and call 24/7 and flying on planes with you wherever you go. So you can do rehab in the hotel or, making business trips to Hawaii and you got an athletic trainer with you. I mean, not many people in the NFL get that. I mean, I'm sure Adrian Peterson got that when he did this pretty much the same thing, came back after 6 months. I mean, I am sure that the Packers with oh my gosh, why am I see I have training camp ring. Parsons, thank you very much. I'm sure they're doing the same thing with him. I'm sure he's got 24/7 concierge training care. I think he's coming back from a different injury. So I'm a little bit more bullish on his ability to come back and be the guy that he was promising to be and looking like. And again, I think he's going to get his opportunities because they're a little thin at that spot. And he's built to do what they'll need, with R. Mason Thomas to pair with him. They will need and a run setting edge guy. And at this point, Felix is more suited to that. Guess who's back? How's Justin Fields meshing with the team? I mean, I guess there's 2 parts of it. If you're talking about the chemistry part of it, having but they don't let us into the locker room at this point, so you don't get to kind of see that. And we we don't get a lot of opportunities to have the conversation of like, hey, how's it going with Justin? How's he fitting in? All of those things. I can only speak to what we see on the field. I think on the field, you see, I think he's fitting in just fine. It seems like he's getting more comfortable. It seems like you can also tell, he's got some favorite receivers, players that he works with more and more and that he trusts. I think Brenningstool is a pretty good example of that. That's a guy that seems to get some good targets from Fields and that he definitely feels like he can throw the ball to at any time and be in pretty good shape. And the guys seem, I think, to like his athleticism. When he's back there, they do throw a few run options for him periodically, and I think that kind of gets the guys juiced up too. I will say this: I'll give the credit to Garrett Nussmeier as well. That guy's a little bit of an Energizer bunny. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like every time he comes in, he's got the clapping going on, and he's trying to get guys going, and he sets a tone and everything like that. So I'll give him that. But I think from an on the field standpoint, we'll find out about the other part. But right now, guess who? I think it looks like he's fitting in from the football standpoint fine. Brian, do you still think Benson at right tackle is a non-story? Did I ever say that? I'd have to go. If you got a clip or you can point me to something. I might have said it. I definitely would have said it in like May. It hasn't been that way since OTAs. Once he started getting looks in OTAs at the one spot, it was like, okay, it's hasn't been a non-story since then. So, unless I said something or you're talking with somebody else, Brian, they're saying something, but no, he's been a story since at least really the second OTA practice that we saw him getting the looks at that number 1 spot. That was even before the mini camp. So it's a real story. It's not a non-story for sure. Kirk, don't think I ever heard the real story. What was the real reason behind the scenes that Kavari Russell got cut so early 10 years ago? Man, I tell you what. Now you're taxing my brain. There's a few guys I can tell you exactly why they got cut early. I do remember the shock. Because that was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that would have been the first draft class that I covered, and I just remember, when the Chiefs waived Kavari, that we were just kind of stunned because it didn't we didn't have any signs. I mean, it wasn't like he was just like my recollection was that he wasn't like completely buried on the depth chart. He was struggling though, and I mean, I've never heard that there was anything specific, about it. I mean, hey, if I did, I'd share it. I'm not like trying to hide something or anything. I've never heard like if there was anything specific other than it just they felt like that he just wasn't picking things up fast enough and didn't show any signs of really meshing with what they were going to do defensively. I mean, that was Bob Sutton's days and everything. There could have been more behind it, maybe there could have been other issues, but I can't speak to that because this is my first year on the beat, so maybe I just wasn't even maybe I wasn't sourced well enough. But my recollection is even like talking to Adam Teicher and the other guys, I'm not sure that I mean everybody seems really stunned by that one. So I don't know if there was anything that happened behind the scenes that we just all missed out on. But I do know that I mean he was struggling to fit in and everything like that. So it might have even just been a decision that we're like, hey, he's not going to make the team. Let's go ahead and waive him, let him try and catch on with somebody else. I mean, that's not an uncommon thing for teams to do, especially if they like a guy that they just know is not going to make their team. I mean, it could very well have been that they're like, hey, Kavari's a good dude. He's trying his best and everything. He's just not going to pick up what we do, or he's not a good fit for what we do. So go forth and find yourself a home. Wouldn't be the first time. So. Rodney, what have I seen from the guys fighting for the final spots at the defensive end position? It's a really good question because I'm still trying to sort all of that group out and everything. There's been some interesting things to develop on the defensive line, and honestly, a little bit more at defensive tackle because the one that's really kind of surprised me that I just keep seeing sneaking in there and getting more and more looks and everything is Marcus Harris at defensive tackle. He's the one that's been kind of sneaking up on me as far as the looks that he gets and everything. I think he's maybe positioned himself as an outside chance. I like Cole Brevard too, but it seems like that there's definitely a little bit of love for Marcus Harris at the defensive tackle spot. Defensive end, I mean, I'm not sure that I have really seen anybody step up and show that they belong at that spot. I mean, that's the tough thing because you've got. I mean, if you even let's accept the fact that Ashton Gelati is still there because doesn't look like that hamstring is serious. I'm imagining he is going to be available in week 1. Let's assume that. So okay, you've got Karlaftis, you got Gelati. You got Felix, you got R. Mason Thomas, you got those 4 for sure. I mean, I think the Chiefs would like to have a 5th defensive end. They'd like for it to be a young guy that they could develop. I mean, originally, they were thinking that might be Ethan Downs. It's not going to be him. So in that next group, I mean, you got Anthony Dunn, you got VJ Anthony from the kid from Duke. Let's see, who else am I missing? Tyreek Smith has been around for a little while. He was at the team last year. I mean, you're really down to those 3 guys in competition for that spot. And if anybody, I would say VJ Anthony's in the lead in that spot. I would give him the advantage at this point, just from opportunities, from looks, from flashing a little bit. He would be the guy. 6'6", 260. I mean, again, a little undersized weight wise, but I'm okay with it. I mean, at 6'6", 260. I mean, that's fine. Length wise and everything. That's kind of closer to your Steve Spagnuolo, Joe Cullen kind of guy. Tyreek Smith is not a bad player too. I mean, I should probably include him in that group. I think he and VJ Anthony would be the 2 guys that I think are most likely to, if the Chiefs come out of that. But that 5th defensive end spot's one that I would circle and say, knowing Brett Veach, that could end up being a spot where he looks around at the waiver wire. He maybe thinks about a deal of some sort at the end of training camp. I'm going to be betting against free agents. I mean, maybe there's a free agent that they're going to go out and bring in. Brought in Ethan Herkett also, who has, just been barely brand new. So So brand new, he's not even on the roster, which is why I didn't mention him at first. But then I was like, wait a minute, they did sign Ethan Hurkett. Got two Ethans, and they got one that's actually playing now. Uh, but I mean, he's a little bit of a long shot, but that's the one of the positions for sure that I would be circling and saying I think Brett Veach. If you told me that there's going to be a fifth defensive end on this roster that is not on the 90-man roster right now, that's one of the ones that I would circle. I think they're going to be on the lookout for some upgrades there. And again, you're talking about your fifth defensive end. That's probably not going to be a deal maker. It's not going to necessarily be a guy who's going to play a lot, but hey, injuries happen. It could end up being a pretty critical situation. So, Nikki, is Benson more reps because they already know what Moore can do? It could be, Nikki. I mean, I'm not completely ruling that out. Usually, though, that would be determined already. I mean, only in the sense that, I mean, I know we've only got 2 days in the pads, but they've had a lot of looks now at Khalil Benson. At this point, I think we're beyond just taking a look at him to the point where, wait a minute, it looks like this guy's a legit real deal. Is there an offhand chance that it's like maybe they really do think that this is a guy that they could be a developmental player for them? Here's the only thing, is that they have now done so much to put his name out there that there's no way Khalil Benson's passing through waivers. I mean, somebody's going to claim him. I mean, unless he just goes out there in the preseason and just embarrasses himself. But I don't think there's any. The Chiefs can't hide it anymore. And I mean, he's there. I mean, there's scouts. There are Chiefs practices all the time. So every team in the league's going to have had a look at him in training camp, no matter how much they play him or how little they play him in the preseason. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, I think we just have to assume that it's the real deal. And yeah, I mean, could it very well be that Khalil Benson has played himself into the position and then he could play himself out by just not backing it up, by not getting better, maybe showing that, hey, he's got a ceiling right now that maybe he can't push through, maybe. But right now, I mean, and Luttrell kind of, popped in here too. I mean, again, the ability for Moore to swap in at left tackle, it makes, hey, if it came down to, and this has been a legitimate decision point for the Chiefs in the past, if it was a flat-footed tie between Jalen Moore and Khalil Benson, and you thought that those two guys were dead even, you're giving that starting job to Khalil Benson, because Jalen Moore is a better player to come off the bench. If you lose Josh Simmons, Jalen Moore can swap in and play right there. If Jalen Moore is at right tackle and you lose Josh Simmons, then you're most likely, I mean, you're not playing Khalil Benson there. No experience at left tackle. So him he's not really a swing tackle. He's only going to be a right tackle. So Josh Simmons goes down, then you're putting in Essa Pillay. Well, now all of a sudden, you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, one of my two best tackles is Khalil Benson. He's on the bench. Jalen Moore's at right tackle. He's that guy. Andy Reid and Andy Heck, one of the things that, even though they love versatility and they love flexibility and they love guys to be cross-trained, they also hate, especially Andy Reid, disrupting two positions on the offensive line for one injury. They hate in a situation where if somebody gets hurt, they have to move someone to that spot and then bring somebody else in. So now you've disrupted two positions for one move. They absolutely can't stand to do that. So that's the one thing to me that, I mean, I it just leads me to believe that this is for real, and there's no evaluation or mind games or anything like this behind it. It's that they really think that at this point, Khalil Benson's the guy that's earning the spot. All right. Eric with another super chat question. Thank you very much, sir. When are you hearing Rice and Delane will be clear? I've been hearing Rice may be back this week. He's been doing a little bit of 7-on-7 the last few days, so that's a pretty good sign. I mean, at this point, I was told even yesterday was the earliest that we might see Rashee Rice. I would think you're going to see him at some point in this 6 practice stretch. So I think you will see him back in the full team periods and a full participant in practice, or at least closer to a full participant by Saturday, sometime this week. Delane might still be a little bit longer. I mean, I've seen some other timelines out there. I still hear that it's going to be more like in the maybe a week or two range, that he could be, maybe gets that yellow contact jersey off this week, maybe more likely next week. But I doubt he'll probably play in the first preseason game. I think the second one is a little bit more of a hopeful target. But both that Rice is a lot closer than Delane is right now. And L'Jarius Sneed the same way. L'Jarius Sneed, hasn't been playing in team periods yet. He has been doing some 7-on-7. This week again was kind of the target for him, that maybe by Saturday he was going to be closer to a full go. So he's kind of in that spot as well. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate the super chat as always. Alex, will Brashard Smith be the main return man? I mean, right now, nothing has really changed. I mean, there can be somebody who ends up winning a job on this team as a returner, but right now, I would say the punt returner is going to be Nico Remigio, and your two kick returners are going to be Nico and Brashard Smith. It could still change. I mean, I believe Brashard Smith is going to make this team. Maybe a little bit more likely than Nico. I mean, I would probably have Brashard at like 90%. I'd probably have Nico at maybe like 80. Again, I mean, with Nico, it's kind of like he's the stalking horse. He's the guy that's like, hey, they're comfortable with Nico. They know he's not the fastest guy in the world, but that they like his reliability. They like the fact that, they could trust him. They don't think that he's going to be, putting any balls on the ground, that he's going to be able to give them consistent returns. Even if he's not a guy that's going to take 98 yards, they feel like that he's at least a guy that's going to give them consistent returns, put them in good spots, not turn the ball over, not make mistakes. Be interesting if Brashard, can factor into the punt return. I mean, right now, today they did punt return duties, and the only three players who were taking punts on punt return were Nico, Brashard Smith, and Jacob DeJesus. DeJesus is a really nice project. I mean, he might end up returning kicks in this league, maybe for the Chiefs. He's a little guy. I mean, like we talked about, he's like 5'7", so he's a little dude. But then again, he's like the same size. Maybe actually maybe taller than Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles returned kicks and punts, so that's not a concern. I mean, he can do it. Maybe he beats out Nico. You never know. I mean, one of those three guys is going to be your punt returner, because they're the only guys that are returning punts right now. I think that even before what happened with Cyrus as a gunner, I think there was already the momentum towards the idea that he wasn't going to be a returner. I mean, he has been in the mix as a kick returner. They got a lot of guys who are working as kick returners right now. And that could be where there's maybe a little bit of a surprise. But to your point, I mean, I think Brashard Smith is most likely to make this team as a returner. I think Nico is the second most likely, and could end up being the guy that's both punt and kick return. It's going to be dependent, to me, on whether a guy like maybe a DeJesus beats out Nico for that spot. Is there somebody else? But very, very telling the other day when Dave Tobe was asked if there were any rookies that, were factoring into him in the return game that he liked, and he just said no. So I guess that was probably a bad sign for DeJesus. But I mean, I haven't seen it either. I mean, there's no one in this class that has legitimate experience as a returner. Anybody that you put back there is going to be a crapshoot. They're going to be incredibly inexperienced. The only one that really has any would be Cyrus. And again, if you think Cyrus Allen is going to be one of your top three receivers by the end of this season, you're not putting him at return. I mean, if anything, like we talked about, I mean, at some point they will probably have to work on his special teams work. You don't want another injury, but then again, it's the catch-22. Guys have to play special teams. Sometimes your third and fourth receivers got to be the guys to play special teams. And when you factor in that they really don't want Tyquan Thornton for whatever reason to play special teams, he's not well suited to be a return specialist, and they don't really seem to like him as a gunner at all either. factor that in, I mean, it just increases the fact that you need Jalen Royals and Cyrus Allen to play special teams. So it's not a great solution. They're gonna have to figure something out, but we'll see. Alex, who is the Chiefs fullback? Does that exist anymore? On paper, no, it does not exist. Not sure that I can really say that there's anybody who's going to make this team as a fullback specifically, because I mean the only one that I would say is maybe suited body wise would be like a guy like Jaden Ott, but they're not working on him. I mean he's not playing that role or anything. I think you would be looking at two possibilities there if you want a part-time fullback. And one obviously is that you're going to do what you've been doing the last few years. You're going to use a tight end. So Noah Gray would be mostly your backup, your guy you would use in those H-back or fullback type formations. The other one, and you're going to see it at some point because he's going to play fullback. He's going to get some touches at halfback too. I don't know. I don't know where I would put the offensive snap count. If you put the offensive snap count for Peter Woods at 3.5, I am probably betting the over. Did it a lot at Clemson. Putting that guy in the backfield is fun to watch. So I have no problems there. So that's maybe your X factor at fullback, because I'll tell you what, short yardage situation and you're running behind Peter Woods, you probably eat a sandwich and drink some coffee and nobody's going to touch you. So I'd do that. Lance with the super chat. Thank you very much, Lance King. Any update on Omar, if he will start week 1? I would bet against it right now for a couple of reasons. One, Kyrie's Tonga has pretty much nailed down that starting spot next to Chris Jones. So I don't think there's any dislodging him. He's going to be there. Omar, and again, I mean, Omar's a 3-tech. I mean, he is in that rotation and would be with Chris and with Peter Woods. Doesn't mean that you can't put him on the field with Woods and Jones, especially in the right situations. But the Chiefs, I mean, they really need more of an update, a backup for Tonga, and Omar's not necessarily that guy. The way that this roster is structured and everything, I mean, it's certainly, the Chiefs are kind of sending the message that, I mean, I think that they think that it may take Omar a little bit into the season before he's 100% ready to go. At one point, they were hoping that Omar would already be on the field, but this recovery has been taking a little bit longer. And again, with big guys like him, that's not uncommon. There was never really a timeline specifically for Omar. And we saw it. I mean, even with Charles Omenihu, he was close to a full year before he got back onto the field. With his, I think he was about 11 months with his ACL when he came back. So October would be like a full 12 months, and that's not uncommon for big guys like Omar. Right now, I mean, it's looking like later in camp would be the time that you're hoping that Omar gets ready to get back onto the field. They may have a decision to make about whether or not he starts the regular season on the PUP list, which is, I think, going to keep you out for the first 4 games. There's a tough decision there. Still a possibility. I mean, anything is a possibility, but it does look like it's a little bit longer before Omar's going to be back out there. So I would bet against him being ready week 1. Infopocalypse, does KC still see Remigio as a returner? In your opinion, Brian Smith was a way better returner than Remigio last year. Like I said, I mean, right now, if you look at the starters and you look at who the Chiefs are running with out there, Nico and Brashard are your number 1 kick return team, and Nico is your number 1 punt returner. We'll see if anybody dislodges him, but right now that's the pair. And it's a couple of things. I mean, one, if it's going to be a returner and it's going to be a receiver, I mean, that's going to have to be somebody like a Jacob DeJesus that's going to have to beat out Nico, and that guy's going to be your 6th receiver. If it's a running back, that makes it even trickier. Emmett Johnson is an interesting possibility, but the thing about Emmett is that he's more suited to kick returns, I think, than punt returns. I don't really get the sense that the Chiefs are excited about him on punt returns. I think the Chiefs would be okay with Brashard Smith on punt returns. So if he's your return guy and you need a second returner on kick returns, who's that going to be if Nico's not on the team? I mean, is it going to be like a Jacob DeJesus that is maybe kind of an upset makes it? I don't know, because again, I mean, I think the Chiefs view him more as a punt returner than a kick returner, which is interesting. I think Jaden Ott and EJ Smith would be the outside picks, but again, but that you're really got running back problems getting them onto the 53, 1, and then 2. I mean, you're going to have somebody inactive on game days, especially if you end up with like two running backs like Brashard Smith and Jaden Ott or EJ Smith. Two of those guys are your kick returners. I mean, you're going to have at least 4 running backs active on game day, and none of them are going to be Emmett Johnson potentially. I mean, it's a real numbers problem. So, I mean, you start looking at the puzzle that way, it seems like Nico is the favorite. And another thing that leads into it is that I certainly get the sense from the way that the Chiefs use Nico in practice and where he's at on the depth chart. It certainly feels like, Chad O'Shea is working from the assumption that Nico's going to be one of his guys. I mean, him and Andrew Armstrong I think are the top contenders in that, final wide receiver spot. And maybe, hey, the Chiefs may keep 7 wide receivers. Maybe they keep both of them if they go down that road again, or there's an injury. Maybe both those guys make it. But again, the strange thing is that Andrew Armstrong makes it. He's a big guy, so he's not really a returner. So it's a weird puzzle that if you try and put together, if you're Brett Veach and if you're Dave Tobe and trying to get your guys on there and figure out who you want. It's tough little puzzle to figure out. I think it's going to be really, that's going to be one of the tougher things to figure out when we do our roster projections is at the end of this camp, is to figure out who's going to be the returners. Maybe we'll know it for sure, but there could be some trickiness in deciding that one. Scott, thoughts on E? I feel terrible because I am apparently so obtuse right now. Don't know. This would be obvious, I'm sure. I'm probably going to look at this and be like, E. Oh, E. I'm looking. Trying to be like, who am I completely? Okay. I'm looking in the comments at the end. Okay. So, Scott, if you can clear up my brain fog and like Mahomes, no, Travis, no, and just help me figure out E. I will gladly answer that. But right now, all I can think of, well, Emmett Johnson, Kyer Elam. I'm hope my brain is fried, Scott. So let me know, and I will definitely get to you on that one. I love the Chiefs. Any Woods at D end? Yeah, there have been a few looks at that. So sometimes this is a gray area in the reporting rules of what you can report, because sometimes specific formations and packages are off the record, even though there's 5,000 people there that got to see it that day. But I try to follow the rules when I can so that I don't get in trouble that much, because I get in trouble enough as it is. But yeah, I mean, I think that's something you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see a majority of it being more like Chris Jones on the outside, but man, boy, I wouldn't mind seeing some looks where both those guys are on the outside. It won't be a ton that you see Woods, but not as much you see Chris on the outside. But yeah, I think you will see that. And I'm looking forward to seeing it in game action too. Let's see. Darren, Anthony Armstrong led the SEC in receiving yards in 2025, similar to Benson. Why did he not get drafted? It's a good question. I mean, he had a really good year at Arkansas, obviously. And I was thinking it was 24, because I thought, because Armstrong came in last year's draft and he was with a team during training camp. And I'm now completely blanking on where he was last, because he came in late to the Chiefs on their practice squad. And he was with the Dolphins for a little bit, but then he spent all of training camp with the Lions last year. And I mean, he was first team All SEC in 2024. And like I said, he's got good size. I was really impressed with him at the rookie mini camp. He was one of the first year players who was eligible for that and came in. And I mean, Chad O'Shea had him going through every single drill, showing the rookies how to do things. And so, I mean, it's a good sign when you can lean on a guy like that. He's been, I'm going to say impressive because, I mean, what is Armstrong? I mean, to me, he's like a fifth round. I mean, he's like a number 5 receiver. I mean, so I'm not expecting Andrew Armstrong to be the number 2 receiver on this team. I mean, I think could be like a number 5, number 6 guy. It'd be really good if that was your number 5 or a number 6 guy. He's got good hands. I think he can move well. Obviously, if he led the SEC in receiving yards and he was all SEC, dude can play. So, I mean, again, it's a little bit like the Khalil Benson. How does the starting right tackle on a national championship team end up being a tryout player? I mean, this is another one. So that's a Mark, I know where you're going with this one, man. Mark, you're upset with me for not having Mansour Delane on one of the top 4 players. That's a good argument to be made. That's a good argument. I think maybe it's just because of the injury this year that I'm holding him back a little bit. But man, yeah, no, I mean, he would, if I had 5, he'd be on the 5. Might be the 5th. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I should probably, the more and more I'm thinking about this, Mark, you're probably going to convince me to bump off the center and put Delane on that top 4. So that I would accept the argument that maybe that was a blind spot on my part, that, but also in good case. I mean, I think this means that the Chiefs have got, some at least 5 guys that you're thinking are going to be on this team in 5 years and are going to be impact players for a while. So in fact, there's actually some debate there is, I think, a good thing. So I'm fine with you calling me out there. You make a good case. Eric, what do you make of Jeremy Fowler saying Peter Woods has been maybe the most impressive rookie of any team? Is this Woods' agent using Fowler? I don't think it's Woods' agent using Fowler. I don't know if Jeremy's necessarily being used at all, but I think it's the Chiefs telling Jeremy Fowler that they're impressed with him and how much they love him, because I mean the Chiefs do, man. I think it's the Chiefs that are putting that out there, and I could say more, but I'm not going to. There's some things off the record that I can't say, and so I probably have already said too much and given too many little hints there. But I mean, and hey, his agent is probably also singing his praises and everything. So maybe you're covering both bases there, Eric. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than a couple of reporters have maybe gotten some emails or texts from the Chiefs, singing the praises of Peter Woods. So, Alex, is Bossa the new Willie Gay? Interesting concept. I mean, I would probably, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I can go that way, because I still think Boss has got some work to do to be an every down player. And, Willie, I mean, played himself into that. I mean, he became that. He was also a really good special teams player. That's where I would say that it is an apt comparison, because I think Boss is going to be a really good special teams guy. Not the energy guy that Willie Gay was. That's the other thing about Willie. I mean, he was that hype machine. So he was a good lip man. He'd get everybody going, and Boss is he's a different kind of cat. He's not quite Willie. He's not Willie Gay in that way. And I think they're two different players. Different size, different skill sets, and everything. So and I feel like Willie, played himself into. I still have Willie Gay played himself into a starting role. I don't know if Jeff Boss is going to play himself into a starting role. His ceiling may very well be as just a really nice backup linebacker that can help you out in a couple of spots and be a four-phase special teams ace. Nothing wrong with that. You need that. And if that's what you got with that draft pick, I have no problems with that. I mean, that was what you're hoping the floor was for Jeff Boss. You're hoping he's more than that, but if that's what it is, I've got no issues there. Brian, the Delane injury doesn't pass the eye test or the stink test. Does anyone else foresee him possibly missing the Denver game? I mean, is it possible? Sure. I mean, the thing is, I will say about about Delane, and I don't know if you're just saying that. I mean, because it sounds like what you're telling me, Brian, is that you think that he's much further away than what it looks like. That as far as the work that he's doing on the field and everything. I mean, that's possible, but I mean, or obviously right now the Chiefs feel like he's well enough to be on the field. They obviously don't want him using that arm that much, as Andy Reid said. They've got him, playing as kind of a one-armed man out there. So they want to limit his exposure a little bit, maybe a lot. But at the same time, they're letting him play. They're letting him work on the field. They're letting him do things. Not letting other guys do that. So clearly he's healthy enough to do a lot of things. He's just not healthy enough to do everything. I mean, if he were that far away from being ready to go, I think he would be, on the sidelines in the medical tent. I mean, if you're telling if the projection is that he's not going to play in week 1, I'm like, why is he even on the field to begin with? Why is he on special teams on a kick return? Put him in the medical tent. We'll have him working on the side. Let him be rehabbing that shoulder rather than being on the practice field. If he's that far away, that's what you should be doing. So I still see it as, and like I said, I mean, Andy Reid's been pretty circumspect about this, so not a lot we can see into it. But I've still been getting the sense that he's going to be back sooner than later. But may not be this week. Could be next week. I mean, maybe it'll be after the first preseason game. Who knows? But I would be surprised if he missed the Denver game. I mean, the Chiefs certainly at this point have been acting like he's going to be there in week 1. And remember, I mean, he's been there. I mean, once again, I mean, if they don't think he's going to be there in week 1, they should be giving his reps to somebody who is going to. So that's what I would do. Pete, reporter fight. I'm not aware of a reporter fight. I guess I got into a little tussle with somebody on maybe somebody on Twitter, but that's kind of how I do things. So every once in a while I get in trouble. Bobby, hey buddy, just popping in for a few to show you my support. Might as well ask a question. Is Obi Femi the face of WWE? If you don't know him, look him up. Yeah, and now I'm going to feel bad because now you're going to really truly understand, Bobby, how little I know about the WWE, and you're going to think less of me. So I hopefully I'm not too ashamed there. Holy crap, that's a dude, all right. Man, that's if Dwayne Bowe were a professional wrestler, that's what I would picture Dwayne Bowe looking like. So that makes a lot of sense. Dang, that's a dude, all right. Thanks for dropping by, Bobby. And hope I have not lost all of your respect by revealing just how little I know about the WWE. Although I did drop a Macho Man Randy Savage reference over the weekend, so at least I can hang my hat on that one. Great to see you, Bobby. Appreciate the comment and the question. Oh, let's see. John, does Wampa make it? It's gonna be close. I mean, I think he's really on the cusp, and I think he's got a pretty good chance because, again, I mean, I think certainly now with some injuries, especially if some of those injuries extend into the season. I right now I would project at least 3 rookies, undrafted rookie free agents making this team, and maybe some first year. I mean, yeah, if a first year guy like Andrew Armstrong, I would include him in that kind of projection as well. A few injuries, and it could be as many as 5. I mean, it's really that kind of race. Right now, I think I would have Wampa as one of the 3 that makes it. I mean, I have my roster projection I'm working on right now. I mean, I feel like I'm always working on a roster projection, and I'm always behind on it. I'm behind on everything right now. Everyone's disappointed in me for whether it's my work output or my WWE knowledge or my lack of or my too much knowledge of. You never know. But I'm probably gonna have him on my next projection because I think there's an opening. He's been, I think, a good player, and again, the Chiefs, they need some younger guys that they can develop into future role players that are gonna be cheap and affordable, and Wampa ticks a lot of boxes. I mean, I think he can be a backup safety, maybe even compete for a starting job. I mean, if you told me that this guy was Dan Sorensen, and I mean that in a good way. That's not a pejorative. I mean, Dan Sorensen did some great stuff for this team as an undrafted guy. If you told me that was his career, I'd take it right now, and I'd say he's going to be on this team. Um, might not be a totally inaccurate comparison. I mean, they I think they're both different players for sure. But when you talk about versatility and ability as a grinder, as a undrafted guy to make the squad, I think that's actually a pretty favorable comparison. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's got an excellent chance of making it. And if there's any more injuries pop up, especially in the secondary, I think this just improves his chances. Um, Joe is Caldwell getting work in practice. How has he looked? Like I said earlier, he is. I mean, he's working with the third team mostly, so working a lot with Garrett Nussmeier. Probably gets a few looks in there. I'd have to look at my notebooks and see, but it probably gets a few looks with Justin Fields, but he's mostly in that third group. And again, he's just raw. He just needs some work. So he needs some seasoning. I think that would be great for the practice squad. I don't think I'd be surprised if he got claimed by another team for their 53. So I think he's a fine practice squad candidate. He just needs more seasoning. Jackson, is Creed having a GOAT trajectory career for centers? I think so. I mean, at this point, he's already been all pro a couple of times, and the only reason he hasn't been, first team all pro more was because of Jason Kelsey. I mean, he's basically been widely considered at this point either the best or the second best center in the league every year of his career, including his rookie year. Um, yeah, I get there's some criticisms of him and everything. I mean, he's a little unorthodox, so there's some people who don't like he's a lefty and he's changed his grip, and he's worked with a different grip, and he's not let's I was gonna say he's just not an A plus snapper of the ball, maybe an A minus snapper of the ball. But snapping the ball is not the biggest thing that a center does. There's other things, and all of the other items and things like that a center does. Creed's aces. He's across the board, and even you look at him and you see Peter Woods, dominating some people. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if he. I can say that I think he had some reps against him today. If not, I need to go back and look. I have not looked at the tape today yet. I might watch at the same time that all of you do when I get it up later tonight. But I mean, yeah, centers have a very difficult time making it into the Hall of Fame. I'm assuming Jason Kelsey will be the next one, and celebrity is probably going to get him there a little bit. But if Creed continues what he's doing for 10 plus years and continues to rack up all pros, gets a couple other Super Bowls would be great too. That's the trajectory that he ends up on, then yeah, I mean, I think he is going to be in that conversation about for one of the best centers of all time, and certainly up for Hall of Fame. I think he would deserve that. I mean, is he there yet? No, he's got more work to be done, and it's like I said, it's a tough battle, but I think he absolutely can be on that arc and is on that arc. And then Jackson, do the Chiefs plan to use Woods on the outside as an edge rusher? I think, like I said, we've seen it periodically, not a ton, but a little bit. So I definitely think that is going to be in the conversation. A lot more for Chris Jones, but hey, Joe Cullen and Steve Spagnuolo, they love to show teams different looks, unscouted looks, do a lot of things. So there's going to be a lot of things up their sleeve. Lance King, what about Omar Norman Lott? Like I mentioned earlier, a little ways away. So I wouldn't be stunned if he wasn't ready for week one, beginning of the season. Chiefs will take their time with him a little bit, but hey, he's out there. He's been working every day on the side in the medical tent, out there with the game for the stretch period and everything. So, I mean, closer than he was for sure, but uh, it still looks like it might be late training camp before you see him maybe get back to football activities, and it could be later than that. John, early evaluation of the coaching staff with EB out. Have they stepped up? I mean, I can't really say that there's been anything that I would say looks like as out of place. Joe Blameyer was talking today. He filled in for EB, and I know he's been described as the interim offensive coordinator. I mean, Andy Reid didn't really appoint one. I mean, when he was asked who was going to be the interim offensive coordinator, he's like, "Hey, Joe Blameyer's the pass game coordinator, and Andy Heck's the run game coordinator." Even today, when Blameyer was asked about that, and the roles and everything on the team and what his responsibilities are, and he's like, "Well, between him and Andy Heck, I mean, so it's been kind of a group effort to replace EB." But the one thing the one thing you can't replace with EB is EB himself, and his voice, his leadership, his authority, his accountability. That was so clear and abundant when he was out there, the first couple of days of camp, and just hearing him back on that field again. I mean, it was nice to hear. I mean, the good and the bad. I mean, whatever it was, as far as the critiques for players, good and bad. EB, and you're even seeing it. I mean, we saw Kenneth Walker today talking about EB. He's already taken to him. This is a coach that so many guys enjoy playing for, and they missed it. And this team, obviously, in particular, for a team that has maybe lacked accountability last year and needed a little bit of a kick in the pants, that's what EB delivers, and they're missing that right now. But that said, I mean, EB is exactly where he needs to be, and that this organization, you can tell, is 100% in lockstep on that one. They know they'll get EB back when EB is able to be back, and they'll be happy about that. Emerson, your thoughts on Caliendo and Norzad making the team? If so, 53 roster or special teams? I mean, I think both those guys are making the team. I think there might be a little bit of a switch this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Norzad was the first guy off the bench. It could still be that maybe Caliendo's the first guy in at guard, and Norzad would be the first at center. But I feel like I've seen Norzad take another step forward this year. Looks stronger. I think a little bit better technique, at least from what I can see. And I know he had the rough snaps the other day against Peter Woods. Tell you what, if I haven't looked at the clip, go back and look at the clip of Peter Woods versus everybody. And we're going to get some body of work of Peter Woods against everybody coming up. So be careful about that, because Hunter's look good against some other guys, and and Caliendo, very, very solid player. You're hoping that as a former 5th round pick, Norzad's going to continue to elevate and rise up, and this should be the point where, I mean, he is passing Caliendo, so not a bad thing. But I think both those guys make it. I mean, there's your 5 interior linemen. I think you probably end up with 4 or 5 tackles as well. So I'm not sure. There might be, like I said, there's going to be if you keep 10 offensive linemen, you keep 5 tackles, that 5th spot. I mean, is it Ethan Driscoll, Chu Godric? You could probably end up getting both those guys on the practice squad. Chu Godric gives you the advantage of having the international flexibility and getting that extra practice squad spot. So that might give Driscoll a little bit of a heads up there. But I feel like the Chiefs have got a bunch of guys that, are worthy of that position and can play. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like Caliendo and Norzad to both make the team this year for sure. Jackson, how do the Chiefs feel inside the building about Worthy this year? I get nothing but optimism from this club about Worthy. I mean, I haven't sensed any concern about the shoulder. That was probably inevitable. A lot of guys coming back, and probably especially a guy like Worthy that going through that injury, and then everything he had to kind of deal with last year. Then you have the surgery, and it obviously, that was he had that surgery in January, and that was significant enough. He was still coming back from it in May and June. Wasn't really 100% clear. And I'm not even sure it was, totally 100%. But here's the thing with a lot of players coming back from an injury. It'll happen, with ACLs. It'll happen with shoulders, like Worthy, anything like that. There's going to be that one time. Maybe it's the first time. Maybe it's the fourth time. I remember talking to Nazi Johnson about it. There's going to be a time that you tweak it and you think, oh dear, and there can be a lot of pain. There can be inflammation. I mean, there can be some things, and sometimes it's just going through the mindset of being like, wait a minute, is this is not having the faith in the shoulder, not having the faith in the knee. So yeah, that I think is the only thing that honestly that Xavier just needs to push through. Hopefully, this little thing that he had with the shoulder is something that he can push through. Isn't going to hold him back very long. Hopefully, it doesn't sound. Certainly, the Chiefs don't seem like they sound like it's serious. They're talking about him as day to day, and we can have our jokes about what day to day means in Kansas City. But no, I mean this team's optimistic about him. I mean, they think he is a strong number 2 receiver, and if they had to play without Xavier Worthy for a period of time, was she Rice for a period of time? If Worthy is healthy, they feel like he can fill that role. So it's just about him staying healthy and staying on the field. If he can do that and isn't limited, they're excited about what they've got there. Yeah, Casey on purpose. We're going to be discussing this one for a while. How did you're right, 32 teams miss out on Khalil Benson in the draft? How did they miss out on him? And remember, I haven't gone through and looked at it, but usually, teams, I mean, the Chiefs signed like 21, so some teams signed less, but teams sign, probably about 15 undrafted free agents every year out of the draft. Maybe some that were first year players, but there's like 15 guys that they sign after the draft. I mean, it's like 450, 500 players. He wasn't in that group either. You're talking about like the top 700, 750 players coming out of college, and Benson wasn't one of them. And now you're talking about the possibility that he's starting in week 1. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, this is going to blow Rudy out of the water, if for no other reason than at this point, Khalil Benson seems like a really good dude and not someone who's going to be accused of financial crimes. And, also have a terrible, terrible scene in his movie that absolutely and totally maligned Dan Devine. But that's a conversation for another day. But I mean, it's a crazy story, and I'm still trying to get into it. I'm still trying to talk to people, being like, "Can someone explain this to me? Explain this to me like I'm an 8-year-old. How did this happen?" I mean, but again, you know what? He needs to get there. Maybe Brian, with the non-story thing, maybe we're overblowing it. Maybe he's going to disappear and turn into a pumpkin, and it'll all be over. But right now it looks like it's for real, and if it's for real, I don't know how to explain it. Lateral, I saw some interesting speculation. We don't really like speculation here, Lateral, but we're going to go down this rabbit hole anyway. Are Rice's best days behind him talent-wise? 2 surgeries and a young career. Not his fault, but maybe he won't be as good as he was when he played. Really, this, this was not really a surgery. It was certainly a surgery, but a debridement is, it's a really minor thing, Lateral. It's a outpatient thing, and it's really just, there's, I've had some debridements and everything like that. They are not that big of a deal. So even, it's arthroscopic. I know that, they said it's the 2-month recovery, and yes, he's even still a little bit beyond that in the recovery from it. But it's not in the ballpark of an ACL. If anything, it's just, I wouldn't be too worried about calling it like 2 surgeries, because like a debridement where they just go in, and we didn't hear the specific details on it. So I don't know if it was cartilage, if it was just some scar tissue, loose material. There was something in there that they said was caught, and never told us what it was, but something in there was causing inflammation in the knee. Decided to go ahead and get it out of there. it's a fairly minor procedure, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that talent wise. I don't think you're going to see a drop off. I mean, I I do think he is still working through the tightness, and honestly, I mean that probably has a lot more to do with probably being in jail for 30 days than it does with the surgery. I'm just assuming that despite his obviously speed in the post release video, he still just looks like a little stiff and kind of, just working through the knee and everything a little bit. But I mean, he's fast, but it's the style of Rasheed Rice that's more his game. It's the way that he runs, it's his ability to break through tackles, it's his strength, all these things, his size. I mean, there's a lot of things that I mean, honestly, I mean, when I think about Rasheed Rice as a receiver, I don't think of him as just like a I mean, Xavier Worthy is probably technically more athletic than Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice isn't the most athletic receiver in that room. It's just that, his size, athleticism, his skill set. I mean, he's polished in a lot of ways as a receiver. I still think there's some areas where he can improve, but he's still, I mean, obviously, even as a rookie, he was way better than average against zone defenses, and that's something you can take advantage of. So I don't think he's always been just strictly, athleticism. But again, look at the averages that he was putting up last year coming back from the surgery. I mean, he was putting up 1,200-yard numbers as far as an average per game over an entire season. Now you got to keep him on the field for 17 games, but that was post-surgery. And like I said, I don't think that this debridement in the offseason is significant enough to really affect him. It shouldn't affect him, and the Chiefs don't think it's going to affect him either. Joe, hopefully I didn't freeze. Your screen. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That happens to me too. It stinks. Alex, any surprise cut keep trade candidates this year? There were some going into camp that I mean I've completely reversed on, and some of those are because of injuries, and some of it's how they're playing. I considered Felix a potential trade candidate, even though I would have been worried about the fact that just not getting a lot in return. But again, it would have been more with the philosophy of, hey, maybe he just needs a fresh start. I've reversed on that. I would absolutely at this point keep Felix. He looks like he's bouncing back quite nicely from the surgery. It looks like he's playing pretty well. You could go back at it and look and see before the hamstring that, hey, maybe he was starting to make some strides last year. So if he can build on that, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna at this point selling Felix. I mean, this would be selling a stock at a low value. I mean, you're going to keep him and see if you can't increase that value or just squeeze a little bit more out of Felix in the final year of his contract. So I'm backing off of that. And especially with the numbers now the way that they are, I think you need to absolutely hold on to Felix. I'm not sure there's anybody else that I'm really looking at there and saying, okay, maybe this is a surplus guy. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be looking at my O-line depth that way. Certainly no running back could be a sneaky one, but again, I'm not sure there's anybody I want to get rid of. You're not trading Kenneth Walker. I mean, the Chiefs have done this before, so I'm not going to say they're not going to trade Amari DiMercato if the right offer came along. And again, I mean, because they did that. Gosh, why? Once again, training camp brain. I can even see. Was it CJ Spiller that they? Yeah, it was CJ Spiller. I think they ended up trading to the Texans for Martinez Rankin, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, and that was like first year they when they signed him. So it can happen. But I think the Chiefs like DiMercato. I don't think they really want to move on. I think they would like to have as much depth as they can in that room. So I don't think that's a position that you're really talking about. Cornerback. I mean, again, Christian Fulton is going to be in that conversation, but again, I just don't feel like from the cost standpoint, you're really saving a lot if you release, Christian Fulton. I still think he's one of your better corners. So I don't think you get better by walking away from Christian Fulton. Does trading Christian Fulton get you something? I mean, at least you're getting assets back. But again, it just depends on what you would get. Would I listen to an offer for him if I'm Brett Veach? Maybe. Yeah, sure. But I think it would have to be one that convinced me. Kader Gohu might be in that because the Chiefs, it's something's gonna have to give at that nickel spot because between Kohu and Chris Roland Wallace and like Kevin Knowles, Jaden Canaday, Legarius can play in there. I mean, somebody's or somebodies are going to be the odd guys out. And Kohu, I mean, again, maybe he will have some value, especially has some good preseason moments. If you can showcase some of these guys a little bit and give them some time, and maybe see if they can't impress. Maybe you pick something up there if there's just going to be some guys who are not going to make the roster. I mean, I don't think that there's. I'm not sure I really consider anybody else that, and and when I talk about, surprise candidates, I mean, I'm not going to talk about last year's undrafted free agents or anything like that. I mean, sure, like a Chris Roland Wallace would be a surprise, but Chiefs aren't releasing Chris Roland Wallace. I doubt they even trade him. I'm not sure that I see a ton of, surprise candidates because again, when I start putting together this team and I'm putting together a 53 player roster, I mean, I'm getting to undrafted free agents before I get to 53, and there's no surprise candidates in there before that. So I mean, I just don't think it's there. I mean, again, where the Chiefs have some depth and where I think that they've got some talent, I just wouldn't walk away. I wouldn't trade it. I mean, I think those are some spots where they need the numbers and they need the depth. And there's a lot of places where they just don't have the depth. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trading Felix. So I'd be surprised again, if the Chiefs do make any moves, and I think it would be later in camp and it could be in that period just before the cut deadline. Veach has been pretty active there. He doesn't necessarily have to be as aggressive as he has been the last couple of years because the Chiefs are not at the end of the waiver wire. I mean, they're number 10, right? So 9, 10, yeah. But they're in a spot where they can get somebody off the waiver wire. They don't have to make a trade in order to make sure that they get somebody. There can be some players that fall to them. And again, I mean, maybe there's some, situations where you're trading guys that you're going to cut for somebody that, they're going to cut. The Parker Angers for the Traveris Ward trades kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, could the Chiefs do something like that? Sure. I mean, if the right deal comes along and hey, you get a corner that you really like for Brashard Smith offer, maybe you end up taking that. Who knows? But I'll be honest. I don't see the obvious trade candidates, and you're asking even for surprise. I'm not even sure I see the surprises out there. I mean, I think that outside of a handful, like I talked about, I mean, maybe you have that conversation with Christian Fulton, depending on how your situation unfolds. But again, I'm not sure I'm letting go anybody at corner because I'm not sure how many guys that you have at that spot. You've got one spot at nickel that you're kind of not loaded because you got a lot of guys who aren't proven or coming back from an injury or injuries. So you're not solid there, but you've got too many numbers. And if you can flop, like I said, if you can swap somebody that you're going to cut for somebody else that you're going to cut, that's probably the kind of trades you're looking at the end of camp. Brian, any top 15 talented safety could put Connor on the bench. So what's up with Hicks? Is he a bust yet? A lot of hype when they drafted him. I mean, hey, Hicks was a day 3 pick, right? A lot of hype, yes, for where he was drafted. There was a lot of optimism. Chiefs really talked him up. Has a really fun play style. I mean, he plays aggressive. He plays hard. I mean, had some good moments early that got people excited. And I mean, the best I can say is just that the Chiefs kind of feel like he plateaued, that he just never kind of took that big jump. And hey, some guys, they don't take the leap from 1 to 2. Sometimes some guys don't take the leap from 2 to 3. Sometimes it's 3 to 4. Some positions it's like year 5 before you finally, start showing. So, and you will never ever lose money by overestimating how much the Chiefs, if that's the right word, and how much Steve Spagnuolo appreciates Chamari Connor. You will not go broke with that. I mean, however much you think that the Chiefs think of Shamari Connor, it's even more. So, no. You, here's the thing: the Chiefs, and I say that collectively, for Spags and everybody like this, they view Shamari Connor as the top 15 safety. So, just saying. John, since we drafted to the top 10, how does that help Veach when it comes to cut down day? He always seems to make a roster move right before the season. I mean, like I said, it really, having that position on the waiver wire is really the big thing that kind of becomes a factor. If you're Veach, you don't necessarily have to be as aggressive as you had in the past, because there might be some players that fall to you. You can pretty much bet if you're drafting at 31 or 32, that nobody's going to fall to you that you want. At this spot on the waiver wire, you can be optimistic that somebody will. So maybe you don't have to be as aggressive in some of those trades. It might affect, obviously, it might affect some other teams as what they value from a Chiefs draft pick. If you're making a trade and you're going to get some picks back from the Chiefs, obviously in years past, every single team's going to assume, okay, well, we're getting the 31st or 32nd pick in the round. Might value the Chiefs picks a little bit differently. It might not ends up being significantly, and they're certainly not going to think the Chiefs are going to draft in the top 10 again next year. So it's not going to change that. But again, I mean, I think, like I said previously, I think if you're talking about some of the deals that Brett's going to be looking for or might make at the cut down deadline, I think it's going to be, some of those players that are already on the Chiefs cut line, and they're looking at some other players and around the league that are on cut lines. And ideally, what you love if you're a GM in those spots is that you're able to match up with needs. Brett Veach, he would prefer to send the player to Dallas for a Peyton Hendershot, doesn't want to give up a draft pick. So, that's you'd like for your needs to be able to match up there and everything. So if that's the best thing. Joe, not sure you answered this. How wide receiver Caldwell doing? Impressing anyone? Talked about it a couple of times, but I always try to go over these quickly if anybody's got a question. So, I mean, like I said, practice squad, third team right now. I mean, that's kind of the level that he's at. Just an unpolished guy. A lot of athleticism, a lot of upside. Just needs some seasoning. Don't expect any more this year. And as long as you don't have low expectations and you're just betting on the future, that's what you should do with Jeff Caldwell right now. Thanks, Nikki. I'm glad I increased your respect in me with that. I appreciate that. And I'm glad somebody for my hometown of Springfield, Missouri. Glad someone knew that you can watch those games on the Chiefs television network on Color 10. Just having some fond memories of my days, days in Springfield and Color 10, and gosh, I know they have that hilarious morning show that has had some clips go viral. Because I think it's Tom Turton. Tom Turton was on the air when I lived there and everything like that. So I remember Tom. I mean, Tom's been on the air for like 40 years. It's crazy. Oh yeah, Nikki, if you haven't, yes, you go to my Twitter account and you will be able to see the clip of Peter Woods yesterday, put up all his one-on-one reps from yesterday. The full one-on-one from yesterday is also on Chiefs Digest YouTube channel. Today I have most of the reps. I have to clean it up a little bit before I post it, but you'll see most of the one-on-ones from today, and I'll have that on the YouTube channel. So hopefully after tonight, even Nikki, you'll get a notification if you're signed up for the notifications. And if you're not, then I'm told that, hit the bell and hit the bell again, and then hit it again to make sure you're subscribed. But as a longtime member, you should hopefully be getting the notifications. It'll tell you when that pops up later. And let's see. Oh, Casey on purpose again. Let's back things up and find any pundits who had Benson on their board. Did Mendoza outshine him in Indiana? Did they have 0 run game? Somebody make it make sense. Good question. Maybe we'll look up real quick. I'm going to go to the consensus draft board. Let's see here. We can find out from those fine folks. Oh, dang. Gosh, I guess I have to be a member. I'm not a member yet, so I'll have to do that. I mean, I haven't run across anybody that I'm surprised at me. I thought maybe they should do it for the off season. I'm talking to myself, everyone. It's okay. Um, just doing it for the position breakdown. I see. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking to myself now. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there who had him as a seventh rounder. I mean, everybody I've checked for the most part, have all had him as an undrafted free agent. Let me see. One other place I'm not sure if I checked, but maybe I did. I mean, it is really bizarre. And again, I mean, the only thing I've really seen and read from anyone that had a legitimate reason for it was from Dane Brugler talking about scouts that he talked to citing just some sloppy technique and maybe being better suited to a guard than tackle. No, I mean, again, I'm just not seeing anybody that considered him draft material. I mean, everybody seemed to consider him as a priority for a free agent at best, and maybe not even priority at that. And obviously, he wasn't. It's crazy. So, yeah, Danny, I enjoyed this. Just reminds me. I know it's one of our members, and I'm completely blanking on who it was that posted the comment that we were watching and I thought Peter Woods was really, really fast, and I didn't realize they had it at 1.25 speed. He'd be really, really fast at that speed. Patrick, where are we on making it to the field before the players, Matt? I need to update the standings. I don't have them. I need to go through. I don't have everybody ranked right now. I need to get get the leaderboard updated. I have one win. I need more. Jesse Newell's beating me too many times. A lot of players are sharing the load, so it's going around. All right, just a couple more questions left. So if there is anybody out there that has any questions, last call. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. We did broach the 2-hour mark, so we at least achieved that. I have that going for us. How's R. Mason Thomas look from Andy Tompkins? Andy, I mean, he's looked good. I mean, he looks fast. Is he as fast as Peter Woods? No, but I would say as advertised at this point. I mean, he's fast off the edge. I think you're going to see him in a lot of those. They're going to put him in a lot of those type of situations where he can be kind of like a wide nine guy. If you can get him, on the kind of extreme edge of the outside the tackle, that's looks like his bread and butter. I feel like I've seen him mostly. He's moved around. I feel like I've seen him mostly on the right side, but I could just be favoring that. Karlaftis mostly lines up on the right side. So when he's been out there with Karlaftis, he's been on the left side. That's Gelati's side as well. That's where they've had Felix as well as two. But he has moved around a little bit, and it depends on. He's been getting some second team looks too because he's not entirely first team yet. They've been splitting some of those reps and everything. And again, even with first team right now, I mean, you got some times out there that Chris Jones is out on the edge as well. And like I said, even a couple of times with Woods out on the edge. But I feel like he's looked good. I mean, I think he's been like I said, as advertised. I feel like his speed move, his swim move inside is a little better than I expected. Again, lacks power. That's the one thing that, could definitely improve his game. And at his size, I mean, I'm never expecting him to just overpower anybody, but having a little bit more stoutness, a little bit more strength, a little bit more base in the legs would certainly help his being just an all-around edge, and especially against a run. So that's where he needs to improve. And the great thing is that, I mean, he knows that. He mentioned it in his press conference last week that named the number one things like where does he need to improve? Strength. He knows it, so that's promising. I like it when young guys, have the right answer when asked about what their weakness is and where they need to improve. Patrick, who's your biggest surprise, good and bad performance in camp so far? Seems to me like Brett may have hit the draft again with Woods, R. Mason, and Cyrus Allen. Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to at this point say that the biggest, well, I don't know. Biggest surprise is the tricky one because I don't know if Peter Woods is a huge surprise. Everybody thought Peter Woods was going to be pretty good. And obviously, there were people who were saying, hey, if Peter Woods is as good as he was a year ago and what he was, then he's going to be really, really good. He's been really, really good. So that may not be the biggest surprise. I feel like Cyrus Allen is still the biggest surprise. And again, he may also disappear. You know, we haven't gotten to see him with the pads on because that injury happened on Saturday. So we haven't gotten to that point, but I've just been really impressed with Cyrus. I do think he's going to be a good receiver. Again, you know, I mean, moderate expectations. He's going to be your third or fourth receiver this year. So, except that, hey, that might mean anywhere from 200 to 600 yards receiving, depending on whether he, you know, maybe underperforms or overperforms. It's a wide range, but that's where, you know, those kind of guys that filter out. But so far, I mean, he's looked really, really good. So I would be happy with that. I mean, disappointments, I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not sure there's anybody that I'm gonna say that I'm like terribly disappointed in. I mean, again, if I had to pick one, I would probably go to a position group and just say again that I'm worried about tight end. I'm worried about, you know, whether Noah Gray is going to have kind of the same year he did last year. I mean, that you don't normally see that, even with the Chiefs offense struggling the way that it did. I mean, you know, even hey, Kelsey put up pretty much roughly the same numbers in 25 that he did in 24. Wasn't a huge drop off. There was a huge drop off for Noah Gray last year. That was surprising. So I'm a little concerned about that room, a little concerned about Noah, a little concerned that, you know, if you don't get a big jump from Jared Wiley this year, which I think you kind of really need, nobody in that room has really blown me away. And it's just, I do think that room has a little bit has underperformed. So that would be the one that I would be concerned about. I can't say, I mean, I can't say at this point until get a little bit more into the pads and really until the first preseason game, I think, you know, before I could really say, okay, well, hey, wait a minute, this player is not who we think that they are. You know, at this point, I mean, I'm not, I haven't been as overwhelmed with Wesley Besant as, you know, I think the hype was coming in. Again, I'm saying that's early. So, and he also was with injury, missed most of OTA. So I'm gonna give him a discount on that one as well. I just haven't been blown away yet. I mean, in the surprises, Omari Evans, as undrafted receiver from Washington's been impressive. We've talked about Xavier Wampa. I mean, again, you know, that was a guy that Chiefs competed for as a free agent, brought in, and I think it's been impressive. So I think you feel pretty good about that if you're Brett Veach. Going through, see if there's anybody else that's really jumping out at me. I think I mean, you know, I think we're going to learn a lot more in the next, you know, 2 weeks or so about Noah Williams. I want to see the preseason games to see where he's going to probably, you know, end up getting a lot of opportunities, because it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see a lot of Mansour Delane. I think we're going to probably see some load management for L'Jarius Sneed too. So we might end up at this point seeing load management for Christian Fulton. So Noah Williams is going to get an opportunity. I want to see where he's at. You know, if is he a 1, is he a 2, is he a 3 from a corner standpoint? Let's go out there, throw him out there and test him, and hopefully he gets challenged a little bit, and you can kind of see where he is. Like I said, I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised by Andrew Armstrong. I mean, that was a guy that, you know, I mean, came in late last year on the practice squad, and you think is just kind of maybe a numbers guy, but at this point has looked like he's legitimately challenging for a roster spot. So, been impressed there. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody I would really point to, except like I said, the tight end room worries me. But outside of that, I can't say that there's been anybody that's really, you know, disappointed. Like I said, even the quarterbacks that I felt like struggled during OTAs have improved. So they get good check marks from me. So Jackson, what's a realistic stats expectation for Pat this season? It's a good question. I've thought about it. At some point, I'm sure before the season, I'll make some predictions or somewhat about where I think he's going to end up. And I mean, I think you would want, from a career standpoint, I think you would like to see 2023 kind of numbers. Fewer interceptions, of course. I mean, he had 14 that year. It was career high, but he's always, yeah, I mean, he had two really, really good years, but he's mostly been in that kind of 11, 12, 13 category. So I still would love to see him with fewer than 10 interceptions, but at least his interception rate has never been astronomical. It's always been really, really good. If you could go back to having a 1% interception rate instead of a 2% interception rate, be even better. But that's elite, and he's elite, so no reason you shouldn't expect it. But low 4,000s for yards, 30-ish touchdowns would be a ballpark for me about what I expect from him. 30 touchdowns, I'd say 10 interceptions tops, a little 3-to-1 ratio there. That would be what I would hope for if I'm the Chiefs. I mean, and I think the potential is to go higher, because I think that he's going to have more help from the run game. I think the running backs are going to actually probably contribute a little bit to his numbers too. I think he could end up with some pretty good numbers throwing to those backs out of the backfield. I mean, coming back from the knee surgery, it's going to depend on your defense too. I mean, if this defense takes a step backward, which I think is distinctly possible and may have to be factored into how the offense performs. I mean, if this is, suddenly like a 15th ranked defense instead of a top 8, 6, 3 type defense, you're going to have to score more points. I mean, you might get, I don't see this being 2018. I don't think it's going to be that kind of year. But hey, the Chiefs might have to push it every once in a while. So, I mean, for Pat, yes, I would say at this point, I would hope for, if I'm the Chiefs, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 or fewer interceptions. If he didn't scramble at all, would be fine. But if he ends up like 150 or 200 yards rushing, that's serviceable. It can't be 500. It won't be 500. It's going to be probably a lot less than that. So, I mean, hey, as the numbers end up better than that, probably going to have a pretty good season. I mean, and once again, obviously it could depend on the defense, if the defense just struggles with all the changes and the turnover this year. But I'm expecting even coming off the injury, I'm expecting Mahomes to take a step forward, because I think the offense around him is going to be better. Going to have a great offensive line, going to have a great backfield. Wide receiver group is the only thing that, like I said, the backups at the tight end are going to be a little questionable. You'll see what you get. But Stan, why is everybody freaking out about right tackle? To me, it's solidly Moore's job, and right now the coaches just want to see what they have with the rookie. What are you missing? I mean, you may be right. I mean, it may very well end up being Jalen Moore's job, and if it does, that's not a problem. I mean, he's a fine right tackle. So it would be the only thing I mean, and I don't think you're missing it. I think it's just that it would be very out of character for Andy Reid, Andy Heck, to manage a starting position like this, because they typically don't. I mean, there have been times that rookies have come in and just taken a job. I mean, Creed Humphrey took the center job day one. I think Trey Smith, I think it was like day 2, because I think it was like when Chris Long got hurt, that he stepped in and then just never let go of the right guard job. So those two guys came in pretty quickly and solidified themselves. But I mean, normally Andy Reid makes rookies work for it and earn that job. It's not normally the other way around, where that you're just trying. If you're going to see what the rookie's got, see what the rookie has on the twos. Make the rookie earn their way up. I mean, maybe even start on the 3s and earn your way up. We didn't see that. Now, it doesn't mean that maybe it didn't happen very, very quickly. I mean, maybe the Chiefs in OTA 1 had had Khalil Benson on the 3s, and it was like, whoop, boy, nope, he's too good for that. Let's put him on the 2s next day. And then it was like, oh well, hey, he's pretty good there, so let's put him on the ones and see what he's got. And that's when the media shows up. I'm not sure. I don't know how quickly he progressed up there when we didn't get to witness it. And the Chiefs are always pretty cagey about that. I haven't had anybody share the story with me yet about exactly when the Khalil Benson era truly started. We just showed up one day and it was there. So it may very well still end up being Jalen Moore's job. Right now, I mean, the way the Chiefs are acting is that it's not Khalil Benson's job, but he's in the lead for it. It's still a job very much in competition. So no, I mean, it's not something that like I said, you may very legitimately be right. It may be much ado about nothing, and it is going to end up with Jalen Moore at that job. And if it is, not a problem whatsoever. So, let's see. I lost my window there for a second. Sorry. I'm going to do a terrible job trying to pronounce that. So I see an MJ in there. So I might just call you MJ if that's okay. What's your thoughts on signing Zach Ertz? I saw he got cleared, right? And I was going to say he's a free agent, right? I'm not imagining that. I mean, I will say signing a guy, especially if it's affordable, and I mean, if Zach Ertz is okay with a prove it deal, then I'd be interested in that. I wouldn't want to give up something for somebody, even a guy like Zach Ertz. I mean, if Zach Ertz was on the Commanders right now, I wouldn't necessarily want to give up draft pick resources or a good player, because again, I mean, I would bet that anyone that comes into this offense at receiver or tight end is not going to make a meaningful impact this season. So I don't think you want to give up anybody that you think could have a meaningful impact for you this season. And maybe he could. Zach Ertz is a really good player. I mean, he's also old. I mean, this is going to be like his 14th season, I think. So he's up there. Signing, and as long as it was affordable, lots of incentives. I mean, it would have to be like, minimum salary base with a bunch of incentives, that kind of deal. The Chiefs, once again, do not have the money to go out and spend a ton of money. So if Zach Ertz is looking for like $6 million, won't be in Kansas City. If Zach Ertz is looking for minimum base that could get him up to $6 million with incentives, sure, you can talk. But otherwise, imagine he would end up elsewhere, and we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't reject it out of hand. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, we haven't seen a player come in to an Andy Reid offense really. I mean, I guess T.O., and I'd have to look at basically like when T.O. came into the Eagles. I think he was about the only one. But T.O. was also like still in the prime of a Hall of Fame career. So it's a little bit different. I mean, we're even when DeAndre Hopkins coming in here was not in his prime, and yet he has been like the most successful mid-season acquisition the Chiefs have had at wide receiver or a pass catcher under Andy Reid. It's just hard to pick up this offense and to make a difference. So maybe Ertz would be the exception, but I wouldn't bet on it. So I would say if you bring in Zach Ertz, you'd be like, hey, if we got 300 yards out of him, fantastic. I don't think you'd get 300 yards, but if you did, it'd be fantastic. I'm DeBrown. I figure out why 50% of the Missouri Chiefs fans don't want the team to move. They can't smoke weed legally west of the Missouri River. Oh dear! I know I see that not a question now, but I'm so glad I read it. That's could be a big deal there. I'm DeBrown. Although I don't believe that it's legal on the campus at Missouri Western State University, so we might have to discourage that. If Mahomes has a good season, then Brown would be a candidate for comeback player of the year. If Mahomes, I mean, I'm pretty sure Mahomes is going to win comeback player of the year. I mean, unless he gets hurt again and doesn't finish the season or something. But no, I mean, if this dude goes out and like I said, had the season I mentioned earlier, if he goes out 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, Chiefs are a playoff team, Mahomes is winning comeback player of the year award. I mean, it's a popularity contest for the most part. It's has almost nothing to do usually with, and this is me being very, very cynical about the selection process and critical of the voters of the Comeback Player of the Year award, because all they care about for the most part is, hey, who was the biggest name to have a significant comeback of some sort. And sometimes they're like, okay, well, who had the truly best comeback? But remember, I mean, it's like I said, it's a popularity award, although I still don't understand why Joe Flacco won it one year. When Joe Flacco came back from stinking, he came back from being so bad that nobody wanted him. And the Cleveland Browns were just desperate enough to sign him. And he came back and played very average, but he didn't stink after being on the sofa for 6 months because he was terrible. There could be the possibility that there's some player out there right now who was released last year because they were terrible and comes back this year and has a mediocre season, and everybody's like, oh my goodness, this guy wasn't crazy. So, Mahomes was supposed to throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Who cares if he came back 6 months from an ACL? Okay, I'm done. I've been pushed to my limit there. All right, everyone, thank you for putting up with me tonight and all of my training camp brain. Appreciate all the questions. Thought we had a great conversation, a lot of fun tonight. Again, as always, if you have any questions that we didn't get to, and Bart, I see yours. We'll get to it before I get out of here. Now that I read the question, I realize it's not really serious. But I like that. Who's better, Joe Flacco or Patrick Mahomes? I know the answer to that one. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, yeah. Hey, if the Chiefs sign Zach Ertz, we'll pop up with an emergency here and there. I'll try and keep some videos coming to you and everything. I got a few things on the pipeline coming up this week that hopefully will get finished once I manage to pull my training camp brain out of wherever the fog that it's in. But like I said, yeah, go check out the videos we've got on Chiefs Digest now. Obviously, if you haven't listened to 41 is the Mic, I thought it was one of our best episodes in a long, long time, and not just because, we had a lot of fun doing it, but I thought it was hilarious, and everybody's been very, very kind so far. So yes, if you haven't listened to it, go check that out. Thanks for joining us tonight. And yeah, Nick and I will be back on Sunday with 41 is the Mic, breaking down 6 straight days of practices, not all in pads. They will take a day off on the pads. Probably, I think they're only allowed 3 days in a row. So Thursday, I think, should be the spiders and shells day at training camp if you're making your way up there. Everybody have a great week. We will get back to you soon. And again, like I started to mention, if any questions that you had that we didn't get to tonight, if I accidentally missed it or anything, always feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Matt Derrick. You can leave a comment on the YouTube channel as well, and we'll get you taken care of there. So everybody have a great week. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you